On the issue of the Palestinian state, I would ask the gentleman that posed the question, the beginning question should be, do the Palestinian people deserve a state? It's not about the Palestinian leadership. This is an issue of self-determination for the people of Palestine. So if we all agree that the people of Palestine deserve self-determination, and we understand that it is their desire to have a state of their own, then they deserve a state and they deserve to be recognized. How they are governed is up to the Palestinian people, and how we deal with them then is a reflection of whether or not that government is responsible and is able to live up to its responsibilities to its neighbors. And in that regard, I would point out that the Palestinian Authority, with all of the challenges that have been put in its place, with all of the difficulties that it has to deal with, and stipulating that it is an imperfect authority, has lived up to its responsibility to Israel, its main responsibility to Israel, which is providing security. And even with the difficult situation that we face now, the West Bank has not been a source of threat to Israel's security. Nonetheless, Israel continues to actively undermine every day that same authority that has lived up to all of its commitments under Oslo. At the same time, when we see what happened in Gaza, it has been well reported, including in Israeli media, that it was a policy of the Israeli government to continue to empower Hamas's control of Gaza as a way of undermining the prospects for a two-state solution. This is, Europe does need to make a decision about how relevant it wants to be on the international stage. And Gaza and the conflict in Gaza is one of those test cases. And, you know, to be honest, we are all watching and we are all evaluating whether or not Europe has a unified stance towards the principles it espouses, or whether it is a purely interest-based and transactional approach. And, you know, we will, going forward, take that into account. So when
operationally, what would that look like from in terms of what Riyadh would want from Europe?
So in the instance of Gaza, for instance, you have the basic principles of international law, international humanitarian law, being violated every day. You know, when it comes to something just as simple as humanitarian access. And here it would be very easy for Europe to in the context of its desire to focus on humanitarian issues, to at the very least hold Israel accountable when it comes to whether or not it lives up to its responsibilities to allowing the civilian population of Gaza to have access to humanitarian needs, and when it doesn't, to actually quite clearly take action. It doesn't have to be anything drastic, but it could at the very least be an ability to take a position by 27 states to condemn Israel's non-adherence to its commitments. And then the same goes for the issue of keeping the two-state solution alive. Again, everybody says we believe in the two-state solution. And everybody says that we realize that the only pathway to a sustainable peace in the region is a two-state solution. Yet, when there is consistent and constant undermining of that two-state solution, we do nothing, or we give limited statements. So when we see confiscation of additional territories, there is not even a condemnation. When we see actions by settlers and by settler groups that constantly undermine the Palestinian Authority, that are violent attacks against Palestinians and Palestinian civilians, maybe we sanction two individuals, but we do nothing against the government officials behind that.